Hey there, everybody. It is Josh the Merc Raynor here with another episode of Talkin Schmoedown. We are on episode number 49, and we got some great stuff to talk about this week. Fantastic finals match of the Star Wars tournament. Two great matches in the Innergeekdom tournament, and a whole bunch of stuff going on with that singles tournament. So I hope you guys are ready. Oh, man. All right. So, before I get into all of the matches and everything, I just want to have. Normally, I start off talking about, kind of like a little bit of news and stuff like that that has gone on in the world of the Schmoedown. Um, but a lot of the like single stuff I'm gonna save for the end because I want to really go over it, break it down. We got all of the players we were announced. We've got some matches announced, all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to save that for the end. But there was one thing that I wanted to bring up, and that is that they have launched a new YouTube channel called Trivia Schmoedown Quick Clips. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. They are Schmoedown related, small clips, usually like 5 to 10 minute long kind of things. You get little clips from SEN Live, from backstage, from the rundown. You get some past promos, some memorable moments within the Schmoedown, all in small, digestible little chunks. Kind of like Quibi. If you guys have checked out that app Quibi, it's like that. Quick bites. It's really cool. I've actually really enjoyed that because sometimes, I mean, I love backstage, I love SEN Live, but 2 to 3 hours a day for SEN Live, plus a 2 hour plus backstage every week. It can be plus all the matches. It can be a lot, especially when I'm just looking for some Schmoedowns, and stuff. So for them to have this new channel where they can kind of clip out that stuff and just put the specifically Schmoedown related content right up on that channel. I love it. I think it's fantastic. So I recommend you get over there, subscribe. Like again, it's Trivia Schmoedown Quick Clips. So make sure you subscribe to that. All right, so we are going to get into these matches, and as I always do, I will start off with the Star Wars match, and this is Andres Cabrera versus Andrew Dimalanta, Star Wars Finals for #1 contender. Whew, this was hell of a match. Uh, Damon is there at the beginning of this, saying, he thinks Andres has the edge, but that Dimalanta is a bit scarier than him. And I think I agree, at least at that point. Yes, Andres was, he was kind of plowing through people, and absolutely. But Dimalanta had this fire in him, and he still does. But I think at that point, I think what Damon had said there, I think that was absolutely correct. I 100% agreed with him there. But before this match started, it was anybody's game. It really was. Both these guys, fantastic Star Wars players. So it really was anybody's game. And this was a 5 round match. We finally get to see this infamous new speed round that they've been talking about, and I gotta say it was interesting. But we'll get to that. But I thought it was interesting. So round one, Andrew needed a JTE right off the bat. He got the question. It was off to the races. He got it. Had no problem after that. I was happy to see him use it. A lot of people kind of, I don't know if neglect is the right word, but a lot of people tend to either forget or just be a little too stingy with their JTEs in that first round because they're afraid that they're going to need them in round three, possibly round two. But sometimes using that JTE in that first round can really help you because if you get that question wrong, it can fret, especially that he uses on the first question. If you get that question wrong, it can frazzle you, man. It can throw your game off. But he got it right. He took his time. He got it, and just had a great rest of that round. So question 6 we got to. Andre stumbles here and misses his question after a JTE. Now here's another thing. Like I said, JTE comes up, and sometimes you don't get it. Unfortunately, thankfully for Andres, this did not damage him too badly. He was able to recoup from this and continue on. Dimalanta did get a perfect round here, which we pretty much expected. I mean, obviously it's never a guarantee, but pretty much expected. And Andres only got that one question wrong. So, it was 11-9. Yes, not getting that perfect round cost him the extra point, but it's still a close game. Getting 9 questions out of 10, it's nothing to sneeze at. We get into round 2. Diamante spins a new hope and stays with it. Like I've said in the past, you notice a lot of times with the Star Wars division that these guys will spin and just stay. Rarely do you see them spin away from it because they're so vastly knowledgeable in all of it that they're comfortable enough to just take whatever they get, and that's because of the sheer amount of knowledge that they have. And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, the Star Wars division is the bottom tier," and I disagree. I still think that Star Wars is the most elite division in this league. Yeah, it's only what 10, 11 movies, whatever it is, but it's about the depth of questions that get asked, and it's about the how accurate you have to be in order to actually win. Like in singles, you can succeed very well getting 7, 8 points in round 1, getting 8 points in round 2, maybe missing just your 2 pointer in round 3. Like you can win titles off of that. Not in this division, man. You have to go perfect or near perfect, really, to make it to the top in this division. And that's why I say it is the most elite division in this league. So I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who disagree with me. And if you disagree with me, there's my Twitter right there. At Movieblog Merc. Hop on over there. Be like, yo, Merc, you're an idiot. It's not even close. And I'll be like, hey, don't call me an idiot. That ain't nice. But then we'll have a nice back and forth. And that is what it's all about. All right. So we get into round number 2. Like I said, he spins a new hope and keeps. And of course, he gets a perfect round here. I mean, this dude has just nailed 2 perfect rounds in a row. It's ridiculous. This dude is a machine. It's insane. Winston does like a song and dance thing right before Andres does his spin, and it's fucking hilarious. If you guys, I'll be honest, I really kind of hope they clip out Winston's little song and dance thing and stick it on that Quick Clips channel. I might have to send a tweet out to Christian. And Christian, if you're watching this by any random chance, I doubt it, but you never know. Get that clip of Winston doing his little song and dance before Andres' spin up on that channel. I think it was hilarious. I absolutely loved it. So Andres spins the Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace is one of those movies that a lot of people do not like. But Andres confident in it and stays. Just like I was saying, like these players, they're confident in all this stuff. At least most of them. And so it's when you get to things like droids or vehicles, like those weird ones that aren't movie specific, where they're almost like a mixed bag in something else. You know what I mean? Where it could be from any movie. Those tend to be the ones where you see people spin away from a bit more. It's just because of the uncertainty of what could be in there. The instead of narrowing it down to the one movie, it's a bit more. But so I get that. But anyways, he gets Phantom Menace, and just like Dimalanta, he gets a perfect round, staying right there with him, keeping that 2-point gap, not giving Dimalanta an inch on that. And these guys are dangerous. They really are, man. They are just dangerous in this league. So normally this would be the last round, but because it's a number 1 contenders match, round 3 is a betting round. So we get the category of heroes and villains. So this is one of the ones like I was talking about, where it's kind of like a mixed bag type of thing. Heroes and villains literally be anything from any movie. And with this digital wheel, I've noticed a lot of times it lands like right on the line. And Christian will say, "Oh, it's just barely over to the other side." And I'm just like, dude, I feel like that just causes more controversy. I personally, you are the chairman. That's cool. You. Me personally, if there's even a question that it's on with it being on the line, just spin it again. Personally, that's on me. I know in the past you have allowed people to choose from one side or the other. When it's been right on the line, I've seen it happen. You've allowed them to choose. But personally, I would just respin that sucker. I'm just saying. That's what I would do. Granted, I don't run this show. You do. So you do you. I'm just a guy sitting on the internet on his couch with his Stitch poster in the back. That's all. So you do you. All right. So both Andres and Dimalanta wager 3 points here, and they get it right, keeping that gap right there. It's another perfect round. I call this a perfect round, not just because they both got it right, but because they both wagered the full amount of 3. So another perfect round. So that's 3 perfect rounds in a row for Andrew Dimalanta. 24-22 coming out of that. And now we get into round 4, and this is the speed round. Now, normally when you're in studio at a live event, whatever, they use buzzers. So it's 5 questions. You buzz in. That's what it is. You get 2 seconds to answer. And instead, what they did is they dropped one person out of the stream. The other person that is still in gets 10 questions and 60 seconds to answer as many of those questions as they can. They were not allowed repeats. They were not allowed challenges, I believe. But you could pass. But if you got a question wrong, you would lose a point. But if you passed, you would not lose a point. It would just come back around to you, and you can keep passing as much as you want. Which I thought was interesting. But as we were getting into this round, after the rules were all kind of gone over, Winston tried to challenge that round 3 question. Now, he did this before, where he tried to challenge a question, a round 2 question, in round like at the beginning of round 3. And again, they were like, that round is over. You should have done it then. I don't know what the challenge was going to be, but he tried to challenge it. They denied it. And I get, he's trying, but he needs to be quicker on it. And I don't know if it was the same situation where the last time this happened, he was trying to challenge from the private chat, but, they didn't see it, I guess, or whatever. And so I don't know. But again, got denied. So Andrew Dimalanta was able to go first since he was in the lead. He opted to go first and netted a total of 6 points. He was able to answer 7 of these questions, but he missed one, so he lost a point from that. Andres went up next, netted again, also 6 points. These guys are like 2 in the same almost, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So he wound up getting 8 questions and wound up missing 2. So, we wind up having a score of 30-28 in favor of Dimalanta. Andre's still within that 2 points, and hey, I think that's that shows just how good most of these guys are. They're neck and neck, real close to one another, 30-28 already, and we still got round 5 to go. Now, I just want to talk about the speed round a little bit. I thought it was really, really interesting. This whole 10 question thing. The only problem that I have with it is that I think they rushed too much, like tallying and stuff. They just like plowed through the answers. Like what they should have done is go through those answers a little slower so you can really hear them, understand, you know what I mean, and then make sure that you got because they had messed up at one point. and said that Andres had gotten, I think they said Andres had gotten 7 points, so he was up by a point. But then they went back and said that he didn't. It's like I understand this is the first time doing it. I hope that for the next time that this type of match kind of goes down, which probably trying to think of when the next one would even be because they haven't. The next one that's scheduled, I think, is Roca Irwin. I don't know if they'll place one of the others before that. I don't know, but I think as of right now, I think the next number one contenders match is Roca Irwin on July 31st. So I'm hoping that they do a bit of a better job with the speed round during that match. So let me get into round 5. Andres blanks on Darth Maul for his 2-pointer, and I was like, oh no. I was so like I was rooting for him. Like I love Andrew Dimalanta, but Andres was just killing it. And I was like, I couldn't help but root for this guy, you know? And so like when he missed that Darth Maul question, I was like, oh man, now he's down essentially 4 points, you know? He was already down by 2, and then he's just lost the opportunity to get 2 more points. Luckily for him, he does get his 3, which pushes it back over to Dimalanta, who gets his 2. That then again pushes it back over to Ace, who has to answer his 5, which luckily for him, he nails his 5. Now, at this point, Dimalanta only needs his 5 to win. His 3 is just what they tend to like call like icing on the cake. So he gets the 3, but then as he's trying to answer the 5, you know, he asks for his JTE, and then he just kind of he has one JTE left, rule left, I believe, and he just gives up. Like I understand he just did not know it, and he just knew he wasn't gonna pull it. And unfortunately, that does happen. I've seen it happen a lot, but it's still like it kind of made me. I was a little disappointed that he got so upset with himself. It felt like that he just kind of threw in the towel without trying, without throwing that last JT rule out, and just trying to maybe see in that last second, maybe something would have popped. Who knows? You never know. But unfortunately, that's not what happened. You know, he ran the gauntlet through this thing, and realistically, it came down to that. And now it's like maybe if he had gotten more, you know, a couple of questions extra in that speed round, if he hadn't the one that he missed, if he had actually gotten it right, he would have actually been in the lead here, and it would have forced Ace, or Ace would have actually lost because Ace had already answered his 5. And so if he had gotten, because what did he only missed the 1, right? Yeah, he missed 1. If he had gotten that 1 that he missed correct, it would have been a 2-point swing the other way, and he would have actually won this game. So really, it's like I said with the Star Wars division, one miss can screw you over big time. Like you have to be elite in this division, and I do believe that he is an elite player. You know, I know that when he first came into this this tournament, he talked about, you know, having, you know, no wins, and that doesn't show his true potential, his true knowledge base. And yeah, I agree. You know, the the stats in the Star Wars division don't show your true potential. At least the base stats when you're just looking at wins and losses. Because in this match, you look at it and you're like, well, Andrew Dimalanta lost, but then you're like, yeah, by 1 point with 3 perfect rounds. Like that's not like no, that he has nothing to hang his head about. And I tweeted this out. You know, he is one of the absolute best players in the league, I think. Now I understand that people are like, oh well, he's only in Star Wars, but I'm talking about as a player, not as somebody who can go and do all of the division, or all of the divisions, but as a player in his league, even, but as a player, he's one of the best. Now, it's like I say, okay, Michael Jordan, one of the greatest athletes. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be great at fucking tennis. I don't know, but he's still one of the greatest athletes to ever play a sport. And Dimalanta is one of the greatest players to ever play the Schmoedown. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He just is. He always has been, and I think he will continue to be. Whether he wins a belt or not, I don't. That won't. That's not gonna. To me, that will not take away any of that. For in my eyes, personally. So with Andres winning this 36-35, he goes on to face Alex Damon at the Spectacular this December, and he picks up an extra 3 points for swag. Now, this guy went from a play-in match to becoming the #1 contender in the Star Wars division. He is the only player to ever be undefeated. He is now 4-0. He is the second player ever to get 4 wins in Star Wars. And if he beats Alex Damon in December, he will tie Damon's 5-win streak. But the difference being, he will have done it undefeated. And that is a huge thing. You know, if he can win it, and then, because if no matter what happens, Andrew Dimalanta is getting a title shot. That was already announced. That was announced during all of this. Harloff revealed that he would get a title shot if Damon loses. Damon will get his rematch because he'll be owed that rematch, and then Andrew will get the winner of that. If Damon retains, then Andrew will get his match against Damon. So if Andres beats Damon and goes 5-0, and then retains against Damon, and is then 6-0, he will have the highest record of all time in Star Wars. And then he will be going up against Andrew Dimalanta. And think about what it would be for Andrew to then win the title off of the only undefeated person in the Star Wars division, the person with the most wins of all time, the longest winning streak of all time. That would be huge. It will be a lot of pressure, but it will be a defining moment in Andrew Dimalanta's career in this league. And I am so pumped for whenever that match happens, because it is going to be fantastic. Now, that's assuming that Andres can beat Damon twice. I kind of, just for that story, I kind of really hope it happens. You know what I mean? Like, I love Alex Damon, but I've just to see Dimalanta versus Andres again, and at those stakes, I would love that. And I'll be honest, I want to know what you guys think. So again, there's my Twitter at Movieblog Merc. Let me know. Are you interested? Like, is that something that you would like really like to see, or are you like ride or die Alex Damon? Either way, let me know. All right. So Swag now has 2 #1 contenders for titles. We've got Chandru facing Mike for the Innergeekdom title in August, and now Ace facing Damon for the Star Wars title in December. It's fantastic, man. Swag's doing great stuff. And the Star Wars tourney, it is official, will return next year, as well as some virtual matches, even if they're back in studio, Christian said. He said this will help to, you can get new competitors in, people who it's hard for them to get. Like somebody like Saul, for instance. It might not be the easy. He lives in New York. Might not be the easiest thing to get to California. even when everything is okay enough to be doing that, to be in studio and all this other stuff. So, uh, I think that'll be interesting to have a little mixture of in studio live events, some virtual, and bringing back that Star Wars tournament, which is great because you were getting like maybe 3 or 4 Star Wars matches a year. This tournament gave us what 4, 6, 7. So 7 just for the tournament, plus the title match in December. So that's 8. It resulted in 8 Star Wars matches, which is more than we pretty much ever see in a year. So I think that's great. The only problem is it makes me sad that you get this tournament and then nothing for the next 5 months in the Star Wars. So like, part of me wishes it was spaced out a bit more, um, or I mean, I'm not necessarily saying bigger, but I mean, if they got more Star Wars competitors, sure, make it a 16 seed tournament. I'd be okay with that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next year. All right, so now it is time for match number 2. And that one is John Humphrey versus the Barbarian. That's right. Quirky Mercs and the Finstock Exchange going at it. Yeah, I'm excited. I was rooting for Humphrey, but at the same time, still rooting for the Barbarian because I like both these guys a lot. They're both awesome dudes. And I know, like, I think I put it on. I think when Saul tweeted out, like, who you got, he put out a tweet like that. I said, I'm pretty sure the Barbarian is going to take this, but I just can't help but root for John Humphrey. I like him so much. The Real Rejects are great. Him and Greg are fantastic. So like, I couldn't help it. And okay, so I've noticed something that they have been doing on these Innergeekdom matches. Christian puts he like mentions the rankings, and they put like an image of the faction rankings up there, and during this match they're incorrect. Like, I understand, like, you had to have known, but doing pre-tape and planning to do live Star Wars matches, that these aren't gonna be accurate. So I don't know. I found it weird that they did that. I don't. I mean, obviously, it would be difficult to do it any other way because this match drops before the Star Wars match, on Patreon. So I think, honestly, just leave them out at that point. Only put them in the Friday one, but don't try not to get too specific about anything. Just like, and here are the rankings. You see where this team is. You see where this team is. Let's see what happens. Something simple. And I've heard him do that. I think he might have done that in the next match after this. But yeah, it gets a little weird when you're looking at it, and just it kind of almost like it shows you that these are not done in order, essentially. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Okay, so I will say this. With this virtual thing, the one thing that I really, really miss are the entrances. You get some stellar entrances, especially from people like like William Bibiani. Like, I miss stuff like that. But the Barbarian, he does some really good stuff. I think for being he tries, and that's what I like about it. He really does try to give some sort of entrance of something. Even if it's just something small, him coming in from the other room and doing his thing, starting to say, it's fantastic. I love it. I love it. He's such a fun dude to watch, and I love that he gives the effort to do that. All right, so we're getting to round 1, and they messed up the faction card here during John's entrance. They showed the Finstock Exchange card, which was, obviously what was there for the Barbarian, but it didn't apparently get switched out when John went up because they showed him as a member of the Finstock Exchange. Not accurate. So okay, we get in round 1. couple questions go by. We get to question number 3. Mark makes the comment, more time for us to vamp, because Christian says he's going to give them 20 seconds. Mark's like, oh, hey, more time for us to vamp. And Christian follows quickly with a, no, I'd like them to be able to think. And then the look on Mark's face, he's looked completely defeated after that. Like, oh, well, fuck me, kind of, you know what I mean? It, I was, I understand Christian gets a little testy about certain things. I don't know if this match was maybe filmed the same time as the same day as that Ben Goddard match, where this spawned from with the bird call. But I don't know, man. He was just he's just joking around. But I don't know. I think sometimes it gets a little too whoa, man. Yeah. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna put this up here again. Merc with Movie Blog, right there. Twitter at Movie Blog Merc. That is right. I hope you guys can do that. Speaking of Merc with Movie Blog, here is my logo. Forgot to put that up there. So yeah, this was actually a really hard round to watch. Barbarian did pretty well. You know, he got 8 points here. It's solid, definitely. However, John Humphrey, not so much. I don't know what happened here. This was not his day. You know, I've seen that with him before. You know, come off something high. You know, he'll do really good, and then not so great. You know, it happens, unfortunately. I do think he's still, good in this league, but I don't know what it was here. It just wasn't his day. You know, like I mean, I've seen Christian score. I think it was like 7 points in a whole match, and get knocked out. You know, so I mean, even the best players have a shit day. And this just happened to be John Humphreys. He only got 4 points in round 1. That's rough. So we get into round 2. Barbarian spins Wizarding World and sticks with it. I mean, okay, I'll say this. He does answer all his questions. However, he has to go to multiple choice 3 times, so he loses 3 points there, only gets 7 total in his round 2. It's not great. It's okay. You know, it's fine. And if this were a higher level match, if this were a number 1 contenders match, title match, any of that type of stuff, this would not do 8 in round 1, 7 in round 2. That's out of a possible 21. You left 6 points on the board, really, and that can sink you. It really, really can, especially with some of these top tier players. You know, so yeah, like I said, 7 out of 10 points, no misses. So John not able to get any steals here. But John gets up, spins Marvel, and then after much debate with Koi, respins and lands on Middle Earth. Again, not great here. 6 out of 10 points. He also had to go to multiple choice 3 times, but he did miss one. But thankfully for him, I guess, Barbarian not able to get the steal here. So we come out of round 2, 15 to 10. Oh, man. Not great from either player. Really not. But then we get into round 3. And I don't know what was going on with John today. Again, 4 points in round 1. Only 6 points in round 2. And then he missed all 3 of his round 3 questions. And it breaks my heart when something like that happens. And he gets knocked out, or TKO technically. 15 to 10. A big 4 points for the exchange here with that TKO. Barbarian takes it. And you know what? Congrats to the Barbarian, man. You know, he pulled out. He didn't have to even do anything in round 3. But again, some stuff you might need to brush up on that Wizarding World. Maybe brush up a little bit. Middle Earth, you missed that steal. Maybe brush up a little bit on it, especially since you're moving into the next round of this tournament. It's definitely a good idea. So, all right. So now it is time for the final match, and that is Brandon the Not Man Hanna versus Alex the Demon Damon. That's right. If you know me, you know I like to bust Brandon Hanna's balls all over Twitter. It is fantastic. Um, you can check out all my ball busting right there at Movie Blog Merc. Actually, I'll leave that up for a little bit. I posted one. I don't remember if it was earlier today or if it was yesterday, where Brandon had posted essentially it was a picture of himself from one of his promos, and it was like, not every man can. I don't remember what the hell it said, but I edited. I just like fixed this, essentially making fun of him, saying about all these the losses that he's had, and I just like busting his balls. It's really fun, you know. I've had limited interaction with him prior to this character change, and he's always been a nice dude. And so he's really leaning into this character, and I dig it. I didn't at first, I really didn't, but I've been having a fun time. Like I said, just kind of busting his balls a bit, and yeah. I don't know how he takes it, in his personal, but I hope he doesn't take it too hard. It's all fun and games, dude. All right, so Alex Damon versus Brandon Hanna. Okay, Ken, at the beginning of this, we see the promo about um the Droogs choosing a new manager. There was a vote. Ken was the only one who didn't vote, and so Christian's like, okay, I need your vote. He votes for the Barbarian, and so Christian tallies up all the votes. Obviously, Brandon Hanna voted for himself, which I still want to know from Christian if Brandon Hanna were to have become the manager, does that mean he would not be competing anymore? I mean, the new manager started during this match with Brandon Hanna. So, like, by your own rules that you stated at the beginning of the season, managers do not play. The only reason Robert Meyer Burnett played was because Ben Bateman chose him because of a stipulation that he had that he could literally pick anybody. That was the only reason you specifically said that. You said that was the only reason that he was playing in a match against Guy, and that he would not play any other matches because he's a manager. Managers do not play. Okay. So, and I understand you're saying that this is an interim now. You're using the term interim manager, but still, manager is a manager is a manager. Okay. Anyways, so tallies it all up, and of course, it's Ken. I called this like a week or two ago. I remember what it might have been 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Whenever it was the Ken's Star, it was a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, with Ken's Star Wars match, when Brandon was there as his manager, I was like, you know what? They got to make Ken the manager. It'd be hilarious, especially because Brandon's the one who wants to be the manager. And so it was. And Ken is amazing on the mic. And so getting to hear him just do his thing is great. And I really enjoyed being able to kind of see that because I'd seen that promo before I watched the match. They had put it up online. So I was just seeing it during, like, at the beginning of this match. I was like, okay, that's cool. I like that they put this here. Um, Now that brings up then the question, and I guess it's really not a question because it doesn't matter. With it being Ken, it doesn't matter because there are no more Star Wars matches for him to play in. So he was, even if Christian was changing that rule and allowing managers to play, there's only going to be one more Star Wars match, and that's the title match. So the Ken's nowhere near it anyway, so it does not matter. We'll see what happens next year if he remains the manager, if they pick somebody else. Who knows? I don't know because I don't know if he would even want to be in the Star Wars tournament again. He didn't really seem like he necessarily wanted to be in it. I don't know. We'll see. But it didn't really matter because Brandon said that he didn't want Ken there as his manager anyways. He said he would manage himself. And Ken was like, you know what? If he doesn't want me here, I'll go take the day off. And so he did. So Brandon managed himself for this match. Whether that was a good idea, I don't know. But probably not. I'm just saying. So we get into round one, and we get through most of these questions, and then we land on the last question. And the last question is about the movie The Green Hornet. If you are unfamiliar, that is the Seth Rogen film about the character of the Green Hornet. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and I do not remember the plot. Anyways, Hanna does not have the answer for this question, but Alex does, and Hanna challenges the question, saying that this is not an Innergeekdom movie. It is not based off a comic book. It started as a radio show, etc. Blah blah blah. He says it should not even be in this division. Christian overrules this challenge because this movie came through the category of mixed bag. So it could be anything. That it could be anything. I mean, it has to be something within the Innergeekdom world. It was on their list of potential movies to be asked about that all competitors received before the start of the season. Now, obviously, we are not privy to that, but you know, him as an Innergeekdom player, he would have gotten this list. And if he had had a problem with it, he should have said it then. I'm just saying. Shouldn't have waited till it came up in a match. You know, he should have said it then. Or you know what? Deal with it. If it's on the fucking list, watch the fucking movie. If you're gonna be in the Innergeekdom League, watch the fucking movie then. Make sure you know it. Don't be a little crybaby bitch about it. Like, hashtag crybaby bitch. I might have to use that. Just saying. All right. So Alex regains the tie here after missing some questions earlier in the round, and they wrap it up 8-8. You know, both of them missing 2 questions in this round. I mean, like I said with the Star Wars one, missing a couple questions in Innergeekdom, you can still do really well. Missing a couple questions in round 1 of Star Wars, that's not as good. And now, granted, it's not a death sentence, but if you miss 2, 3 questions in round 1 of Star Wars, probably not going to win that match. Just saying, probably not going to win that match. But this is Innergeekdom, so let's continue. We get into round number 2. Brandon spins Spinner's Choice. He gets exactly what he would want, Spinner's Choice, and takes Star Trek. And does great. You know? Great man. Great round for the Not Man. He gets 10 out of 10. Bravo. You know Star Trek. Well done. What else do you know, kid? Alex then gets up, spins Middle Earth, and he sticks with it. Now you might be like, Middle Earth? Really? Well, if you were paying attention during this match, he stated earlier that Middle Earth is another one of those categories like Star Wars that he absolutely loves. If there's one other category other than Star Wars, it's Middle Earth. And he landed on it. And damn if he didn't destroy that round, 10 out of 10. Whew, 2 perfect rounds here for these guys. Fantastic stuff. 18-18 going into round number 3. Nail biter here, you know? A lot of people rooting for Hanna to lose. A lot of people want to see if Alex can really succeed outside of the Star Wars division. Well, so far for Alex, he's doing a damn good job here. Even if he were to lose, he's doing a damn good job. Hanna, however, has a lot more to lose, I feel like, here, you know? He's the one who's been touting how great he is. That 80% accuracy record, yeah. And I'll give him this. He retains that accuracy record. So we get in round 3. Alex misses his 3-point question. Miss Desmarker! That question came up and I screamed it in my living room. I was like, Miss Desmarker! I was so shocked he didn't get that. But then he nails his 5, which was, funny enough, Star Wars. So I thought that was kismet. You know, perfect. He got Star Wars for his 5. However, for Brandon Hanna, he did not get his 5. and Alex the Demon Damon wins this match 25-23, giving the Rockstars another 3 points. Man, and Hanna just full of excuses here after the match, blaming all kinds of stuff. Dude, you lost. Just deal with it. Go brush up. Go watch the Green Hornet. It's gonna pop up again, I guarantee you. Go watch the Green Hornet. Just do what you gotta do and stop being a hashtag crybaby bitch. All right. And speaking of hashtags, real quick, I sent out a hashtag to Brendan Hanna. Hashtag 80% couldn't get it done. And I still agree with that. So, that is all of the matches for this past week. So, right now we have the current Innergeekdom tournament standings right here. So, we have the Barbarian moving on to round number 3 along. That's wrong. I accidentally put Brandon Hanna on there. Hey, Brandon Hanna, in some other dimension, you are the winner here. That is a mistake. I'll have to fix that for next time. It's actually supposed to be Alex Damon over there, but you know who actually won. Just go back and watch the match. So Alex Damon and the Barbarian will both move on to round 3. And then we've got Chance Ellison and Robert Parker and Eric Zipper and Mike Kalinowski still to play this coming weekend, which I'll get into in a little bit. Those matches will happen, and then it'll be on to round number 3. All right. And then I wanted to kind of break down some of the faction standings real quick before we get into some other stuff for the end of the show. So here are the current faction standings. We have the Finstock Exchange keeping hold of that number 1 spot with 29 points. Swag in second with 22 points. They are creeping up real close, and they've got a lead above the Den, who's in number 3 by 7. So yeah, like I said, the number 3 is the Den with 15. Number 4 is the Rock Stars with 12 points. Number 5 is Corruption with 11. Number 6 is the Dungeon, also with 11. And if you're wondering, well, wait, they both have 11. Does that mean that they're actually tied? No, it's because Corruption and the Dungeon, yes, they played the same amount of matches, but Corruption has more wins. So they may have played the same amount of matches. They may have the same amount of points, but Corruption has more wins. And that's what actually kind of puts you ahead. Even if the Dungeon has, the 2 KOs, as you can see. And Corruption doesn't have any KOs. It's the wins that actually put you ahead of someone else when you're tied. And as you can see here, Burning Droogs with 9 points and the Quirky Mercs with 9. But the Droogs have played 8 and won 4, whereas the Mercs have played 9 and won 3. Even though they got 2 KOs, that win rate is not great. Droogs have a 50% win rate, whereas the Mercs have a 33% win rate. So, and then you have the usual suspects stuck in last place because they have been out of the tournaments for a bit now with 7 points. Hopefully for them, they'll make up some points coming up here. We'll see. I know they've got the match coming up with Ethan soon, so hopefully for them, they'll be able to get some extra points in there. All right. So now all the matches are done. I want to talk about the upcoming singles tournament. So all 36 of the singles tournament competitors have been announced, and I'm going to bring up the graphic right now. And here we go. So we have got, for the Finstock Exchange, Mark Riley and the Barbarian are set. Then we've got Dan Merle and John Roca, who may be in, and a possibility of Sabrina Ramirez. Now, I will explain. Because of the upcoming title matches, the number 1 contender matches, the title matches, whatever. So if Dan Merle remains the champion going into this tournament, Sabrina will take his spot. If John Roca is the champion, Sabrina will take his spot. And if Ethan Irwin is the champion, Sabrina is not in the tournament. It will be Riley, Barbarian, Merle, and Roca. Okay. So, I'm going to actually jump over, since I mentioned Ethan, I'm going to jump over to the, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, the usual suspects. We have Sabina Graves, Matt Ashley, Robert Montano, and Ethan Irwin with an asterisk with Jen Kemp. So, I had said before, if Ethan Irwin is the champion, then Sabrina Ramirez is out, okay? If Ethan Irwin is not the champion, and either Dan or Roca is, then Jen Kemp will be. If Ethan is the champion, Jen Kemp will be in this tournament. So if Ethan is the champ, Sabrina is out, and Jen is in. If Ethan is not the champ, then Jen is out, and Sabrina is in. So, it works. It works that way. We'll see what happens. You got to have backups, so I get it. Now, right before I got on here, I had already made this graphic, and I had already made the graphic, and I had Mike Kalinowski as TBD because that's what it said. But then I saw, thankfully, I watched the clip on Quick Clips, and it said that they made this announcement, which I'll talk about then. But essentially, Mike Kalinowski is now confirmed to be in this tournament. Corruption will have Chance Ellison, Marisol McKee, Adam Collins, and Mike Kalinowski. Then we have, I'm going to go back over to the Den, Paul Preston, James White, Rachel Silvestrini, and Tom. For Swag, we got Lon Harris, Frank Moran, Paul Oyama, and Liz Shannon Miller. For the Quirky Mercs, we have William Bibiani, Brendan Meyer, Perry Nemiroff, that's right, Perry, and Tim Franco. For the Burning Droogs, we got Alonzo Duralde, Bonnie Somerville, Jader Paramo, and Whitney Seibold. I do find it a little interesting. No Brandon Hanna in the singles. I don't know if he didn't want to be in the singles or what, but I just find it interesting because now I don't know if he's got a team. I'd have to look that up. I honestly don't remember if he's on a team, but if not, then that means he's done for the season. He's completely out for the season. Oh well, if that's the case, I don't know. So then we got the Dungeon with Vinny Mancuso, Video Drew, Eric Zipper, and Andres Galagos. And for the Rock Stars, Mark Andraco, Jeff Snyder, David Del Rio, and Jim Vavida. Some great stuff going in here. Now, you may notice with the usual suspects, there's no Andrew Guy. Well, I'll get to that in a little bit. All right, so speaking of singles tournament stuff, on I think it was on Backstage, or it was either on Backstage or SCN Live. Some of the play-in matches and the normal round one singles tournament matches were announced. So actually, all 4 of the play-in matches were announced, and then 6 of the other matches as well. All right, here we go. So we've got Frank Moran versus James White, with the winner playing William Bibiani. Marisol McKee versus Bonnie Somerville, with the winner playing Paul Oyama. Andres Galagos versus Adam Collins. And it says here with the winner playing either Merle or Roca, but one of them is there. So what happens if they're both, like if Ethan wins, okay, and they're both in the tournament? What happens? What happens? Who are they gonna play? Who's that person gonna play? I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna work. They're gonna have to figure something out, I guess. But then we've got Vinny Mancuso versus either Jen Kemp or Sabrina Ramirez. So, and again, if you know, if Roca wins, it's gonna be Merle, and then it'll be Sabrina in the other match. And if Merle wins, it'll be Roca and then Sabrina in that other match. But if it's Ethan who's the champ, it'll be Jen Kemp and then either Roca or Merle, but we don't know which one. So, and then what does the other player do? Like, are they still like? Are they gonna have a match? Like, where are they placed? We don't know that. I kind of hope that with this play-in match, that because it wasn't listed where I found it. I'm assuming that with the Vinny Mancuso versus either Jen Kemp or Sabrina Ramirez, the winner of that will play either Merle Roca or Ethan. I would assume. Like I don't know. Uh, it's just I assume it would be one of them, depending on who wins. Because like I said, yeah, I know. All right, so then other matches scheduled for this. We have Lon Harris versus Sabina Graves, Brendan Meyer versus Alonzo Duralde, which I gotta say, I'm looking forward to that match. Yeah, I think that sounds fantastic. Tim Franco versus Tom, Jader Paramo versus Jim Vavida, Mark Riley versus Video Drew. I think that'll be an interesting match. And Rachel Silvestrini versus Liz Shannon Miller, two very strong female competitors. I'm pumped to see that. I always love seeing them get showcased like that because people like to shit on the women of this league, and I think it'll be nice to see two strong, capable women in this league duking it out and showing that shit. This is an everybody league. You know what I mean? So fuck all you haters. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of this fandom if you're gonna treat people like dirt. Fuck off. And that's what I gotta say about that. Great matches. Great matches. All right. Okay, so coming up soon, we have got the Skybound Expo July 18th and 19th, which will include an Innergeekdom tournament match, a live or an SEN live episode will be part of this as well. And for that Innergeekdom tournament match, we will be getting Chance Ellison versus Robert Parker on Saturday the 18th. So all this week, Monday through Friday, no Schmoedown. This is an empty week. Saturday is when you get your first thing, and that's 3:30 p.m. PDT on during Skybound Expo on their YouTube channel and I believe their Facebook page as well. You can watch it. Then later on at 5 p.m. on the YouTube channel, on the SEN YouTube channel, you can watch the Ellison Parker match. And then the following day on Sunday, we will get at 2 o'clock on YouTube, on the SEN YouTube channel, the Mike Kalinowski versus Eric Zipper match. These are the last two matches in round two, and we'll finish up what we got for what we need to see for round three. We'll finally know who will be facing who in round three, what the final two matches will be for that, who the final four are, and what we can expect going forward. We also, coming up soon, have John Roca versus Ethan Irwin in a number one contenders match, like I've talked about. The winner will face Dan Merle with an undercard of Final Exam versus Deep 13. So they're starting team stuff, which is fantastic. And then that's on July 31st. And this is a throwdown, so it's a live event. So it's not live as in you can go and see it live. It's live like how the Star Wars matches have been live on Twitch. This will be live on Patreon, where you can pay if you're a patron, a $10 and up patron, you'll get it if you can pay. I think he said it was $4.99. If you're not a patron, you can just pay to watch the events. And you can get your tickets at theschmoedownlive.com, and that's on July 31st. And then the following week on August 7th, It'll be the Innergeekdom Championship match. Kevin Smets versus Chandru Dandapani with an undercard of The Pride versus either Final Exam or Deep 13, whoever wins that match from the 31st. So, and again, that's another Schmoedown Throwdown Live event. I am pretty pumped for that. I hope you guys are too. Let me know. I'm going to pop this up another time. Here it is. Hashtag at Movie Blog Merc. Let me know who you got. You know, are you rooting for Roca or Ethan? Who you got there? What about between Smets and Chandra? Who you got? And heck, even with these tag matches, Final Exam, Deep 13, and then the winner of that going on to face the Pride. Let me know who you are hoping will win these matches. All right. Then, as I was going through the quick clips, which I'm glad I did, I caught this little bit about Andrew Guy. Okay. Haven't seen him in a bit. Dude looks like a mess now. I'm sure he's doing that on purpose. He's spouting out about the Schmoeminati. The Illuminati of the Schmoedown, the Schmoeminati. So apparently Andrew Guy had agreed to sit out the tournament for a guaranteed match against Mike Kalinowski, which would lead to a number one contender match against Ben Bateman. Mike pulled the fast one and backed out of this match. And then right after, Shannon announced that he would be officially entering the singles tournament. So now guys like, well, what's going on? I was told I pulled out of this tournament so that I could get this shot. You know what I mean? And now he doesn't get that shot. So Christian's like, you know what? No, don't worry about it. If as long as you both agree to it, Ben Bateman versus Andrew Guy for a number one contenders match, and they both agreed to it. And yes, Andrew Guy, it is a digital wheel. Sorry, you're just gonna have to deal. But now you bypassed Mike Kalinowski. You don't even have to worry about him. Now you get that number one contenders match. I don't know when that's going to happen, but we at some point will get Andrew Guy versus Ben Bateman in a number one contenders match, and it will be something to talk about, man. Yeah. And then one final tidbit: the horror exhibition match has officially dropped. Mark Andreyko, William Bibiani, Mark Riley, and Dead Meats, Chelsea, Rebecca, and James Janice. Check that out, man. I love the horror ones. They usually do them in October. I'm shocked that they did this one so early. I was just shocked that they didn't just hold this one off till October. But I'm pretty excited to. I haven't watched yet. I think it just dropped either yesterday or today. And I'm pumped. I'm pumped to watch it. And unfortunately, we're not supposed to do stuff like this. So like breakdowns about the exhibition matches. I don't currently have a Patreon yet. Plus, I don't know if he would want because like you may be a patron of mine, but not of theirs. So I don't want to do that to them. So I will once I watch it, I'll give you my thoughts, like quick thoughts, but no spoilers. But yeah, just go and become a patron, man. Even if you are just $1, you eventually get to watch all these exhibition matches, and they're fucking fantastic matches. They're some of the best matches that you'll ever see. And then maybe not all of them, but some of them are some of the best matches that you will ever see. Like the Jurassic Park match between Perry and Cody, it was an Iron Man match. Oh my god, it's one of my absolute favorite matches of all time. Definitely, you guys need to check that out. I know that he dropped some of those matches on the YouTube channel. So I don't know if that one was one of them. If it is, fucking check it out because it's free. If it's not, $1 fucking dollar, and you can go and watch that. All right. So that wraps up everything for me. I am Josh the Merc Raynor. You have been listening to Talkin Schmoedown. Be sure to check me out right there on Twitter at Movie Blog Merc. Also follow me on Facebook and YouTube at Merc with a Movie Blog. You can follow me on Instagram at Movie Blog Merc. I don't really post a lot, but you can. Make sure you check out my website, mercwiththemovieblog.com. I'll actually be posting a new review up there by the time if you're watching it right now, since I'm live streaming, I'll be posting it later tonight. But if you're watching it later, it should already be up there. So keep an eye out for that. It's for the movie only. It is a pandemic film that dropped this past March, actually, on Netflix. It's pretty timely, and it's decent. I gotta say, it's got some issues, but it's decent. I'll say that. But you can read my full review over on mercwithamovieblog.com, and just check me out. Like and subscribe to all the various social medias. I really appreciate it if you do. Comments are always welcome. Let's have a conversation. You got some movies you want to talk about? Let's do it, man. I'm so up for it. And be sure to check out the our podcast network. It's on Anchor. It's anchor.fm/movieblogmerc. All kinds of great shows. You can find this show, Talkin Schmoedown, right over there. Also, SCN Afterlife is on there. Beyond the Screen is there. Game Over Screen, which is a video game podcast you can find. We have Through the Port Key, which is a Harry Potter show. Once Mandalorian comes back, we do a Mandalorian review show. Let's see. Oh, we do a Bachelor Nation show called Go Get That Rose. It's on hiatus right now because there's no Bachelor on yet right now. So, well, when that comes back, you can go on there and check out old episodes. And I also cross post Off the Ropes, the wrestling podcast that I do with my brother, which you can find on Twitter at Off the Ropes JJ, and also on Anchor at anchor.fm/Off the Ropes JJ. But I do cross post it right here on Merc Movie Blog, and it's a wrestling podcast. If you're into that, check that out. We got all kinds of stuff. You can also check out my other site, DCComicsNews.com. We have a podcast network over there with all kinds of goodies for you. If you're into DC, check DC Comics News on all the social medias. Well, that's about it for me. I have been Josh the Merc Raynor, and this has been another episode of Talkin Schmoedown, episode number 49. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been a blast doing all this, and I can't wait to talk about these next two big Innergeekdom matches and how everything rolls around over at Skybound. It'll be interesting. So got nothing else for you, but thanks so much for being here, and we have been Talkin Schmoedown. Catch you next time, everybody.